Hi, School of Motion friends. I'm Sarah Wade, and today I'm going to talk you through how to use Adobe's new Firefly built into Photoshop Beta to create 2D stylized assets for animation. We commonly see two styles of animation these days all over the place. One of those is 2D flat illustration style, and the other is collage animation. Let's dig in. First, let's take a look at the collage. Now, you've seen likely a lot of tutorials starting with a photograph, but we can actually start with a blank page, right? I've just created a blank document, and let's say I want to create a picnic place setting. I'm going to just select this whole background, choose Generative Fill. Now, if you don't see this Generative Fill, make sure you're using the latest Adobe Photoshop Beta and go to this window, contextual taskbar, and that's what's going to bring this up. So then when you select anything, that's going to be an option here. Now, I'm just going to say that I want to see the top view of a wooden tabletop. And I'm going to click Generate and see what Firefly comes up with. This does take a minute. You do have to be connected to the internet, I believe, because it uses some cloud computing. So this may not work offline. And like I said, this is still a beta feature. We're hoping it will be in the main version soon. But for right now, just expect a little bit of funkiness here and there. Okay, so I've got the first one. If you see here, this one of three, it's generated 3 different images for me. Now, if I don't like any of these and I want to try again, I can click this regenerate button. Give it a few minutes to do its thing. And now you can see I've got 6 different versions. So I can pick one of these. Now I'm going for like a picnic table vibe, right? So I'm going to pick the one that looks the most like that. So I'm thinking probably this one. And, you know, of course, you can always go back to this later and change the colors of it, just using the normal Photoshop tools that we all know and love. So I'm going to stick with that for now. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to generate some assets, right? So maybe I want to animate some assets like going into the frame and maybe like a stop motion-y collage sort of style. So I'm going to select this area and I'm just going to say, you know what? This is a picnic, right? I'm going to need a red and white checkered placemat, and let's just see what it comes up with. So when I started with the white background, there was no context, right? Firefly is just going to guess, what do you want? And it guessed some wooden things. Now that we've got that wooden background, this image has a little context. So I'm hoping that what it comes up with will be in the same, more realistic vein, right? So, okay, here we've got 1 choice, 2 choices, 3 choices. I think this one looks like the most realistic cloth, so I'm going to stick with it. Okay, what else do we need for our place setting? I'm going to grab the circle selection, shift click it, and let's ask it for a white empty paper plate. Let's just see what it comes up with. And you can see how fast this is, right? Like if I wanted to create a collage animation of a picnic table place setting, I might have to go on to one of the many stock sites out there, search around for quite a while to find just the right image that I need, and then take the time to cut it out. Whereas with this, you're just sort of generating what you need and it's already cut out for you. I don't really like any of these. I'm going to hit that again and just see if it can come up with something a little bit better. If I don't like what that comes up with, I can always delete the layer, change the prompt, and try again. Maybe my prompt isn't that great. That's the key with these AI tools, right? It's going to create what you prompt. And if your prompt isn't super high quality, you're not going to get a super high quality result. So, okay, that's looking okay, right? I'm going to stick with this for now. But if I were doing this for a project, I'd probably keep working and probably keep trying to get something that's a little bit better result. But just to show you how quick this is, I want to add to this, let's say, a folded paper napkin. Let's just say white paper napkin, see what it comes up with. And again, it's generating in the area that I select, right? So I'm using the circle and the square tool, but if I used sort of the lasso tool, it would create something in a completely different size and shaped area. Okay, we've got, I'm going to go with this third one. That looks pretty good. And finally, this is a place setting. So let's draw a vaguely fork proportioned rectangle and say black plastic fork. See what it comes up with here. And again, it takes a minute, but it's so much quicker than finding the right stock photo, cutting out the thing. Okay, that's a white plastic fork. There's a black plastic fork. So like I said, it's not always spot on, but this is about what I was looking for, right? So I'm going to stick with that. Now, just to show you that you don't have to do this in a square, like let's say I just want this sort of oddly kind of circular shape, and I'm going to see, let's just see if it can come up with a bumblebee. Picnics have bugs, right? Let's see how it does on this one. And again, prompts are the key, right? If it doesn't do what you want, delete the layer, start over, try talking about the thing in a slightly different way. Okay, so it's not a top view, but it is a bee, right? So we can keep going with that, keep having it generate, or again, we can change the prompt and see what it comes up with. Doesn't have to be a square or a circle. Again, it will do that in any selection shape you choose. So now that we're doing this a little bit, you're starting to see that's a top view, right? Okay, like that's kind of what I was expecting. Probably this one or this one is the one I'm going to keep. So you can see how fast this is to come up and generate assets. If you're working on a collage style animation and you need something like a paper airplane, that's going to be maybe a little bit difficult to find on the stock image sites, but much easier and faster to create with Adobe Firefly built into the Photoshop Beta. One thing to keep in mind is this is still a beta and it is not currently okay to use this for commercial purposes. So you're going to need to make sure you're using it for a personal project or, just make sure that you're abiding by the licenses that Adobe has for this brand new technology. The next thing we're going to take a look at is how we can do this with an illustration. Now, I've downloaded this from Design Stripe, which is a great source for illustrations. If you need illustrations for a project, don't have time to make them, you can download them in all sorts of formats. So I've got another place setting here, right? You can tell it's lunchtime. I'm a little bit hungry. And I like this illustration. I like the style, but I'm not keen on having this avocado, right? Like on the plate, right? So I'm going to just grab it, lasso tool, select it. And then you see if you have that context window open, generative fill is going to pop up. And I'm just going to say, maybe replace this with cherry tomatoes. And the important thing to notice here is this is a flat 2D stylized illustration. So anything that I create, I want it to be in the same style, right? The same vein. And look at that, a beautiful little vine of cherry tomatoes, and you can see it's done 3 different ones, right? So I can go through these and choose like, okay, I think maybe this one is the one I like best. Actually, I'm kind of torn between these two, but I'd love to see it have a little more stylized highlights. Let's hit that again and see if it can come up with something that's even more abstracted. So you can see that's very, very quick. I didn't have to cut out the avocado. I didn't have to replace the plate in the background. I just select the thing and tell it to make the new thing, and voila, it's made the new thing. And now it's made 6 versions of it, right? So going through these, I think I'm going to stick with, ooh, this one's nice. It's got those stylized highlights, right? So I'm going to stick with this. I think that looks nice. I think it adds some balance to that composition. Let's say I decide I don't like the tomatoes anymore. I'm just going to go over to this layer, hit the delete key, and now I'm going to select this avocado, and maybe, the tomatoes are red. They don't quite fit with my color palette. I could make a tomato in this orangey sort of palette, but that's not what I want after all. I'm going to try and replace this with orange slices. I think an orange slice is going to look good because this is kind of within the palette here. We might also try, maybe some lines. We'll see what it comes up with and then decide. That's kind of a janky looking view of an orange, but that one's pretty cool. That fits in with the style. That one's not so great. Let's go back to this one, hit generate again. And notice that it's even stylizing the shadows similarly to what I've got here. The direction's not quite perfect, but it's pretty cool that it's matching the style, right? It's keeping that flat 2D style, and it's keeping those shadows in the same kind of gray. I might actually like this one. It doesn't totally read as an orange slice, but the style is kind of cool. This one here is working well too. So let's try those limes and see how that works out. In fact, let's try lime wedges and just see. Again, some of these are going to be more successful prompts than others, but you can see already how fast this is. It is not just for photos. You can use it to generate stylized illustrations, especially if you have something starting in the style that you like. That lime looks pretty good. I'm actually really digging this one, right? So I might use this line. Maybe I'll copy paste this layer and create a few line slices, but I hope that this has helped you to see that Adobe Firefly, A, is really fun to play with. B, it's really, really fast. And C, you can use it for things other than photorealistic projects. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. If you want to learn how to animate the assets we created today, be sure to check out our 8-week course, After Effects Kickstart. If you've already got some animation chops but want to take your skills to the next level, definitely check out Animation Bootcamp. It's 12 weeks of in-depth practice and knowledge of how to make your animation look and move even better. Thanks for watching.
Hey up.